Well, hello there. Welcome to Raising the K. Yeah, it's we're a duet today. Sandra's out of town in a
She's on a secret
undisclosed
mission.
location. So anyway,
She's
um,
undercover.
so she says hello in absentia. So anyway, we want to first acknowledge the Memorial Day weekend. Tomorrow's Memorial Day, and to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and passed on. And so we just want to say thank you to all our veterans and military personnel, because without them, we wouldn't be here as is right now. So just want to pay homage to them. And Maurice, you have any words?
Yes, as you know, Memorial Day began as Decoration Day, and it was dedicated to the 600,000 souls that were slain during the United States Civil War from 1861 to 1865 on both the Union side as well as the traitorous secessionist Confederacy, which believed in chattel slavery of Black people. And the origins of the first uh, acknowledgement of the ultimate sacrifice paid is in controversy. Apparently, a number of different communities are taking credit or believe themselves to be uh, the original site of the, the the memorial, and they include Waterloo, New York,
Hmm.
which began a formal observance on May 5th of 1866, approximately 3 years after the end of the Civil War. And many consider that to be the birthplace for the holiday. But then again, there's also Boalsburg, Boalsburg, in the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, which traced its purported first observance to October 1864. And they cite as their point of reference the Library of Congress itself.
Hmm.
But there's another school of thought, and Yale history professor David Blight points to May 1st, 1865, when as many as 10,000 folks, many of the Black, held a parade, heard speeches, and dedicated the graves of Union soldier dead in Charleston, South Carolina. And, so there's a lot of disagreement as to when Memorial or Decoration Day, as it was originally called, began. And then it became actually a national observance May 30th of 1868. So when it became more than just uh, uh, a remembrance in some of the affected states. And over the years, it's somewhat fluctuated in terms of its significance. And in part, it's when Armistice Day was established, and that recognized the conclusion of the First World War. War back then, the war to end all wars, because they didn't know there was going to be a second one. So it wasn't originally called the First World War. And Armistice Day was established at the time of the end of those hostilities, um, November 11th, 1918. And then Armistice Day became a national holiday in 1938. And then later the name was changed to recognize all veterans and became Veterans Day in 1954. And so you had this competing day that came into being that somewhat diminished Memorial Day. And for a long time, Memorial Day was always uh, and I don't want to say celebrate it because it's not really happiness. And that's why you don't say Happy Memorial Day, like you mentioned to me in a conversation we had the other day. So uh, Memorial Day was almost like Christmas, which was always December and is always December 25th, regardless of the particular day of the week, or New Year's Day, or to a lesser extent, Valentine's, which is always February 14th. So it was an act of Congress in May 1971 where that changed. And President Richard Nixon signed into law that Memorial Day would henceforth be uh, on the calendar on the last Monday in May. So it would no longer be strictly the 30th of May.
Okay.
So
Very interesting. Yeah, very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and a lot of this you can find. There's a book called A History of Memorial Day: Unity, Discord, and the Pursuit of Happiness, which was published in 2002.
Okay, 21 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we do want to remember all those who gave their lives um, in all the American wars and conflicts since the Civil War, um, which obviously includes those who died in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, various other wars in between, like Operation Desert Storm, Grenada, um, the liberation of the Dominican Republic, and a few other uh, interventions here and there.
Okay. Wow. Did you know? Now you know.
Now you
So
know.
anyway, now you know. Can't say you don't know. Now you know. So what do
Don't
you
be
think
ignorant.
about without a long dissertation, what do you
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a long one.
with a long dissertation? What so
Keep it short and sweet.
keep short and sweet. Yeah, a little sound bites with the upcoming presidential election, the focus on um, the merits and the different candidates on both sides. Let's talk about the GOP. Who do you think has the best shot?
That's a very great question. You know, Now, as you know, the former president, um, who has been encountering a number of obstacles along the way in terms of indictments in Manhattan and anticipated in Fulton County, Georgia, and from the United States Department of Justice for the possession um, and continuing retention of classified federal documents at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. So he's still the front runner, Donald J. Trump. But with the recent announcement by DeSantis, who is himself uh, a Yale graduate, has a law degree from Harvard Law School, served in the United States Navy, and is a popular second term governor of the Sunshine State, which has a considerable number of electoral college votes. He would have to be considered to be a potentially formidable contender for the GOP presidential nomination. Although the recent announcement last week on Twitter Spaces apparently was a partial fiasco in the beginning. But the one I'm probably most excited about, and there's been a number of people who've entered and tossed their hat into the ring so far, like biotech visionary and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, the son of Indian immigrants, The former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, the daughter of Indian immigrants, Larry Elder, who hosted his own AM conservative radio talk show for over a quarter of a century and is nicknamed the Sage of South Central and author of a number of books, and who actually ran against the California governor, uh, Gavin Newsom, in the recall election that failed to remove the incumbent Democrat, and um, in one in which I don't think Elder properly participated because he refused to engage in any debates with Kevin Faulconer and others who were running to oust Governor Newsom. The one I'm most excited about is Tim Scott.
Yeah, let's talk about him. The first black GOP since Reconstruction.
First black GOP senator
Senator
since
from
Reconstruction.
since Reconstruction. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I saw him the other day announce his candidacy, and so what do you think about him?
I
And not
like
just
him.
it versus the chance of being the GOP front runner. But
Well,
let's talk about him as a person. What do you think as a senator?
well, yeah, he was actually raised in a single family household in North Charleston, South Carolina. And as you know, in a previous segment of Raising the King, we mentioned that was one of the places where Decoration Day, aka Memorial Day, was first celebrated. Um, Senator Scott is the junior senator from South Carolina, the senior senator being Lindsey Graham, who ran for the GOP presidential nomination in 2016,
Hmm.
which is interesting. And he was born, Senator Scott was, on September 19th, 1965. He was a fan of Bobo Brazil. Who's Bobo Brazil? He was a pro wrestler in the NWA and WWF/WWE, and was involved with wrestling for over 40 years,
Hmm.
until he passed away on January 20th of 1998 at the age of 73. And Bobo Brazil had his own distinction of being one of the first black wrestlers to rise to prominence.
Hmm. Interesting.
And he fought Haystacks, Calhoun, the Iron Sheik, and a number of other notables in the square circle. And I share something with Senator Scott in that his favorite NFL team, National Football League, for non-American podcast listeners, uh, is the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, they were one of my favorites at one point.
yeah, yeah. And in terms of Senator Scott's own achievements, outside of being known for a fan of pro wrestling and pro football, in fact, he wanted to play football until he suffered an injury. Is that he was a 1988 graduate from the Baptist College of Charleston, which is now known as Charleston Southern University,
Hmm.
with a bachelor's degree in political science.
Hmm. Okay.
And he opened up his own business, Tim Scott Allstate, where he sold insurance to over 3,000 customers. He was first elected to the United States House of Representatives in 2010. So we're talking like 13 years ago.
Hmm.
And he was appointed to the Senate by then South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who is running this time around for the GOP presidential nomination. So they are actually rivals right now, even though
Hmm.
um, Governor Haley appointed Senator Scott to the Senate when Jim DeMint resigned so he could head up the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C. And then he was in a favorable position, but he had to campaign on his own to win a special election to finish out the remainder of his predecessor, Jim DeMint's term. And in 2016 and 2022, he won re-election for the U.S. Senate seat with over 60% of the vote in both elections.
That's commanding.
Yeah, very much so. Now, what's interesting is whenever he feels down or needs an energy burst, he listens to Word Up by Cameo.
I just listened to that a few hours ago, actually, when I was in the Sam's Club. Yeah.
And that's a great song. It revs me up.
Yeah. You should, see the actual performance on YouTube. It's
oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
that's a
especially
must
with
watch.
Sinbad when he was in Aruba. Yeah. Yeah. Old school. Word up.
Word up. Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun, dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun, dun,
dun,
dun, dun,
dun,
dun, dun. Okay.
dun. Word up. Now, he's a ranking member of both the Senate Banking Committee and the Senate Aging Committee. He is the author of two books:
Okay.
Opportunity Knocks, How Hard
Opportunity
Work,
knocks.
Community, and Business Can Improve Lives and End Poverty. And the other book is called America, a Redemption Story, Choosing Hope, Creating Unity.
Good titles.
And yeah, yeah. And, he and Governor Haley were also aligned in helping remove the Confederate battle flag from the South Carolina state capitol grounds shortly after white supremacist Dylan Root's 2015 mass murder of the 9 Bible study participants at Emmanuel Church.
Yeah, that still makes me mad when I think of that. Boy, it was just evil, pure evil.
Yeah, they welcomed him, as you know the story, to
Yeah.
read the holy word of God with them. And even though he was weird looking, had his bowl haircut and had that deranged glint in his eye, which most of those supremacists do, they still welcomed him. And what does he do? He murders all of them. They didn't have a chance. I mean, they were there peacefully engaged in prayer, worship, and discussion of the gospel. So there's no coming back from that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think Senator Scott, and he even though he is probably not as well known as most of the others who are considered to be uh, likely occupants of the Oval Office, he actually comes into the campaign with the largest amount of money in his campaign war chest in the history of the United States, $22 million.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Now that has to still translate into votes, though.
it does. It does.
Yeah.
And what helps him is that one of the earliest of the regional primary states is South Carolina, and he's a native son. But of course, Nikki Haley was a former governor of the same state.
So he's gonna have a problem. He has a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. Although I think you know he may have an edge in the sense that I think it would be harder for Nikki Haley to distinguish herself from her former boss, President Trump, because Haley, after she was the governor of South Carolina, received an appointment from Trump to serve as United States ambassador to United Nations. So basically, she represented the Trump administration in the UN. And
Well, yeah,
so her claim to the White House is based on the fact that she has this connection to the previous Republican presidential administration, but the the
but
head of that administration is running in his own right.
yeah, the only problem with that is everyone, not everyone, many people have jobs, they have careers, and we all make decisions on where we want to work and where we want to promote or develop and grow. Can you imagine if you based it solely on who's sitting in the main chair? Let's say you're 20 chairs removed or levels. It's like, what do you
Yeah.
do? Is it truly a moral dilemma? Well, I'm going to work uh, at Walmart, but the CEO of Walmart is an a-hole. Let's say, I'm not saying you are. I'm just picking Walmart
For the
example,
sake of argument.
for sake of argument. So your son or daughter just graduated college, and there was an opportunity of a lifetime to work at Walmart. Do you say no because the CEO is an a-hole? You can't work in the division in Nairobi, Africa, somewhere, whatever. It's not like they're going to be right in the same room as the CEO and be their
Yeah.
right hand. And even if they were, do you make your decisions um, that close to the nose where, based on the person in charge? I mean, would
Yeah.
we all have employment if we did that? I mean, you
Yeah.
know, uh, I mean, so I can see she's going to have a tough time or a challenge with that, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for her. I would speak to it that it was an opportunity for me, and so I'm going to do the best I can, regardless who's sitting in that seat.
But
And
you have to distinguish yourself in some way,
well,
in
yeah,
that you couldn't just say, well, I'm just going to continue his legacy because he's running. He could
yeah,
continue his own legacy.
right.
So
And so, yeah,
you have to make the argument that your distinctive set of experiences, skills,
mhm,
traits, attributes,
yeah,
perspectives make you a better fit
yeah,
right now
right,
for the Oval Office as Commander in
yeah,
Chief.
yeah, and to take it exponentially. Well, I don't like the current president now. If he comes and if he's reelected, I'm gonna have to leave the country because I hate him. Do you do that? I mean, it's like you could take that in a macro level and a micro level. It's like, well, some people would say, well, I'm just gonna leave America, if he's reelected. It's just
Right.
foolish at some point.
Nobody does that though.
No,
They always threaten it, but they don't do it. They
yeah,
don't
like
leave.
going back to Africa or something. If Obama didn't win or something, if he don't win, I'm going to Africa. Like who went to Africa?
Yeah,
You
nobody's
know,
doing that.
nobody's doing that. No offense to Africa. It's like if you're from Africa, one thing to go back, but you know,
Well, if
uh,
you've never been, if
but
that's
it's
not
not
your
to say you
place,
can't because people are expatriating themselves anywhere, where they're not, they were born in America and they're going to Portugal, they're going to France, they're going to Cayman Islands or China, wherever they're going. So you don't
right?
have to be have origins where you want to take up your next residency. So, but anyway, back to the story. So they both, so we can move on. They both have a challenging time. And as we know, you have to throw your opponent, whether you're a friend or a colleague, you have to throw them under the bus, right? Essentially.
You know, you do because otherwise, why do they pick you over your opponent or
Yeah, if you speak
rival?
so well of them, it's like, well, why are we even talking to you?
Yeah, yeah. You're basically his campaign manager.
Hmm.
Or in fact, some people are saying that Tim Scott is auditioning to be a vice president, and I think that's prematurely diminishing his own ambition and his own prospects. In fact, you could go up and down the line at individuals who eventually became commanders in chief, meaning they were presidents of the United States, who were once very obscure and were not even as high level as underdog. They weren't even thought of. Look at Jimmy Carter when he was just a former Georgia governor and best known as a peanut farmer in the age before the internet. And then Barack Obama was just a state senator with a strange sounding name in Illinois.
Yeah, he wasn't really well known either, was he? Not at
No,
one. No, not really. No.
yeah. And he wasn't even particularly distinguished, uh, before he became president. I mean, he showed up to vote present most of the time. I mean, he was more of a political uh, dilettante and community organizer than a serious aspirant towards becoming the most powerful elected official in the world.
Well, the machine selected him, and once the machine selects you, they make it happen.
Yeah.
So, moving on. We're going to talk about International Hamburger Day. We're just talking raising the cane. We just go from politics to whatever the subject is. And Mark, she said, should any burger consist of anything other than beef be considered a true burger? Let me give a backstory of our sad situation at a comic book convention. It was years ago. We were at the LA Los Angeles Convention Center for a Comic Con. It was was that kamikaze? It was a
Yeah, that's the one
kamikaze
that Stan Lee took over.
where he took over in Elvira, right? And so we even saw them there. But anyway, the story is we're hungry. We go to the food court and we saw a bunch of people in line to the right, mostly to the right, a handful to the left, maybe three or four, and 30 people to the right. So we figure, the short line is looking good. We go up
Yeah.
there, it says hamburger. And so the signs on the right says, okay, hamburger. Then one over to the left says portobello mushroom burger. And so we stand in line. There was only one person ahead of us. So yeah, I think when I said three or four, we're part of the three or four. So it
Yeah.
was literally one or two people ahead of us. And that should have been the first clip right there. That should have been the
Yeah.
first clue. There's 20, 30 people in one line. There's hardly anybody in another line. That
That
should
was
have
a
been the
clue.
first warning. That's been the first clue. And we were hungry, so we were naive, ignorant, whatever. So we go, we order, we get our fries, we get our burger, we sit and start eating. Then we start making, we start eating it independently, our mutual burgers. And then all of a sudden we say, wait a second, there's something missing in here. We opened up our hamburgers. It was just a big ass mushroom between two buns.
Yeah. Where's the
Um,
beef?
it was no meat whatsoever. It didn't say it's a veggie burger, a plant-based
No.
burger, and it was just a gigantic ass mushroom between
Who would
two
eat that?
buns. And it wasn't that much condiments in between either.
No.
It wasn't really like it was layered in mayonnaise, mustard, pickles with
No.
olives and onions. It wasn't like it would have been tasty if it was just a mushroom.
It
It
was
was
a
a
thick,
plain
bland fungus.
bland bugger fungus, yeah, mushroom. And it cost us, I believe, like $12, $14 each.
Yes.
And we paid $12 plus tax, not including drink, included the burger and the fries. Well, I don't know if it included drink or not, but it was it was horrible. And not,
Yeah.
you know what? Even if the mushroom tasted good, we wanted beef.
Yeah.
We
And
wanted we wanted a meat patty. That burger implies meat by definition.
yeah. And in
So
fact, of course, this was in the days before the Impossible Burger catapulted to global acclaim, but it didn't even have that. There wasn't even anything that was a plant-based patty. It literally
it
was,
was a
as you
mushroom.
described it, it was just this block uh amorphous blob-like uh humongous mushroom between two buns. And I would rather have had a liver sandwich than that,
Well, at
because at
least
least
it's
we could have
meat
got some meat, some protein
and
out of it.
protein. Although
And
stinky meat, but it's
yeah, it would have been repellent. Maybe even a chitlin sandwich would have been better than that. You know, chitlin and liver,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So needless to
And you,
say, we were very hungry. Thank God for the French fries, man.
yeah. Who
Jeez,
knows what who knows what
carbohydrates.
those were made of? But at least it tasted like potato.
No, that was real potato. So,
Those are real potato.
but
Yeah, they couldn't cheat us
anyway,
on everything.
so we raised that. Should the word burger be banned if it's not indeed a meat patty? And what about the Beyond Burger and Impossible
Those
Burger?
are not burgers.
Should they be stripped of the word burger as well in a
Yes.
class action
Ye-
lawsuit?
yes.
Yeah, we can.
Call them sandwiches, but don't call them burgers.
Yeah, I agree with that because it's misleading. It's burger. It's not nothing in there that's a burger.
Yeah. A burger is meat, and the meat has to be from a cow.
Yeah, but as we know, we're people want to call a duck a pig and a a cow a hog or whatever, and
Yeah.
change the definition. And sooner or later they're going to say, hey, you're not black anymore. Well, we did go from the N word to Negro to black to African American. So I don't
And
know
don't
what
forget
the
colored.
next colored. Yeah, we were colored too. So I don't. I mean, is there like a committee? Of people that are deciding our fate or what? Or each decade there's a committee established. This is what shall we call black people this decade?
Yeah.
What's the next one after African American?
I, you
Um,
know, um,
well, we
what
know
else
the
can you
Klan.
say?
They just want to call us Africans and ship us back. So so
Right. And
just
Lincoln
call
wanted to do that for a
African,
while.
just African,
Yeah.
African.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I guess the initial generations of slaves would most accurately be called Africans because they hadn't assimilated and were not citizens, and so kept their language and religion and
Mhm,
culture. It was only like subsequent generations
mhm,
when you had intermarriage and intergenerational forgetfulness of where your forefathers originated. So you kind of became something other than what you were.
yeah.
So you
Yeah,
no longer were African.
yeah, it comes to mind. It's not a direct extension of this conversation, but I think it matters. I just saw it again for like the 20th time over the last couple of years with Morgan Freeman being interviewed in 60 Minutes. I think Mike Wallace. And the subject is that so you don't care to be called Black History Month. He says, no, because why should we be relegated to 1 month of the year? He says, do they have a white history month? And Mike Wallace obviously said, well, no, would you just want 1 month to be called White History Month? So why would you think black people should have just 1 month out of 12 months? Aren't we basically alive and well before that month and after that month? So why are we relegated to just 1 month? It's restrictive, it's containing us again. And at first I was thinking, is this conversation nonsense or what? But I thought about it by the second time I saw it, and I really digested it. I said, he has a great point. And he says, and Mike Wallace says, well, I'm not white, I'm Jewish. Well, yeah, okay. He said, is there a Jewish month?
Yes, there is.
No, is there, for the people?
Yeah.
And like Black History Month, right?
In fact, May is actually not only Asian American Pacific Islander month, but it's also Jewish American month.
Yeah. So the point is they're relegated to 1 month out of the year And it was in the context, though. This is where it's not the same. It was in the context of discrimination, racism, and the argument was it's a form of racism.
Yeah.
And you know, if you look at it that way, and
It's
I
like
originally,
marginalization.
yes, is marginalized, and that's actually he used the word marginalized. And so you just have to Google that and see the context of it. I'm not sure what year that was in. I think they said he's 85 now, and he looked a lot younger, but he could have been. Well, Mike Wallace isn't even alive now, is he?
Right.
So,
He passed away.
so this was many years ago. I don't know how many years ago, but it could tell it was a while ago. And, well, one of them is not even alive, so we know it was a while ago. So,
Right. Right.
um, so you know, I get it. And he says the more you keep talking about something, this is Morgan Freeman, the more you keep talking about something, the more you keep it alive. If you just stop talking about it, then it goes away. And when you think about it, now he's not saying to abandon all defense if you're being discriminated against. That's not what he's saying. And I know some people will take it to the extreme. Well, if we don't mention it, we won't call attention to the people still doing it. He didn't say that. He was
Right.
talking about the controllable aspect of it. Obviously, if you're applying for a job and they discriminate against you, you have a case. So,
Yeah.
and by mentioning it, you have to file a lawsuit. He didn't say don't protect yourself. He didn't say that at all. He's
Yeah.
saying like
Yeah. I think you have to analyze and understand what he's really um pointing out.
underbelly. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting conversation. And yeah, racism is alive and well, but it shouldn't be used as a crutch. It should be used as a way to get justice and not necessarily vengeance, but I'm not
But
opposed to that either, by the way,
but
depending on what it is.
but I think that you have these progressives, they want to turn everything into race and gender and sex,
Mm.
and you get away from common goals and grounds for the entire citizenry. Um, like for example, they always talking about what everything that it may be disproportionately affecting a particular community as being somehow the systemic, institutionalized continuation of racist practices. Sometimes it's just a socioeconomic disparity. Uh,
Yeah. But I know what
like,
they're saying too, not to side with them, because a lot of things have not been exposed. It gets exposed when the man wants it exposed, just like Hidden Figures. We still would have known 30, 40 black women were responsible for getting us in space and on the moon had this not come out. Obviously, the people that worked at NASA knew this happened that were there, and they covered it up. And even
right. No, that's
white
an example.
astronauts covered it
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah. No,
so,
yeah, you have to, there's no, the most reasonable interpretation of that was a deliberate uh, concealment and obstruction of just facts and empirical uh, data as to the particular individuals who are responsible for the mathematical calculations and computations which culminated in a successful manned uh, space program under the aegis of NASA. So that's the only reasonable way to see it. But I'm saying that nowadays, everything that you hear, whether they're talking about climate change or underperformance of public educational systems in the inner city and the representation of people in state and federal penitentiaries, they always want to say it's because of racial discrimination as opposed to bad parenting
mhm.
and a failure of free will and and even uh, uh, you know, piss poor uh, pedagogy, meaning that kids are not learning anything. I mean, just in 2023, they've canceled graduations because in one case, only five
I was
kids.
reading that. Yeah, out of 30 or
Yeah.
something.
Now
Yeah.
those five
So
kids should have been allowed to participate in graduation because the other 18, I believe, uh, didn't even meet the threshold standards and
yeah,
didn't
if they had to
graduate.
have a graduate, yeah, they shouldn't have canceled the graduation. They should have had a slim down one instead of a football field or baseball diamond. Yeah, it could have been a conference room.
Right. And
And
don't cancel it for the students that actually achieved
yeah,
and
that was
learned.
to me that was stupid. Now I could see canceling that particular event and now maybe they did because I didn't dig deep in the story where that yeah, if you rented a big hall for 2,000 people, yeah, definitely you need to cancel that. But
Yeah.
and then have a slim down version, pretty much which they did during COVID with my daughter and a whole bunch of other kids in 2020, where you were just on a computer screen or a jumbotronics or drive through to get your diploma in a car, and you just get it and you hop out real quick. It was literally that's what we did. It was like
And you know something?
ridiculous.
I and not to go off on another subject, which actually began with International Burger Day,
Yeah,
but
but we moved on
they
beyond
should.
the burgers.
Yeah, we'll go back to that though, because I want to say that it's a chicken sandwich, it's a pork sandwich, it's a brisket sandwich, but it's not a burger.
Mhm.
It's not a burger. It has to have ground beef in it and
Okay,
real
so you're
ground
even
beef.
okay, so you're being even specific in the beef world. It can't even be brisket or tri-tip. It has to be ground
I
or
think
to be a
in
burger.
order
Yeah,
for
I
it to
think
be a
so too.
burger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know what? It's a shape. It's a yeah. You're right. Because the day I had a prime steak burger at Sam's Club, it was a sample. Oh man, it was good too.
Oh,
Prime steak burger.
how large was it?
It was a slider.
Oh,
Yeah, like a slider. You
yeah.
that's
I
how
love
you eat when you go
sliders.
to islands. Yeah, it was a slider size, and it's sure. I was like, I almost wanted to say, can I have another one? But no, it was a bunch of people. It's funny when you have meat and sand. We're going off on a tangent now, but we're gonna get back on track for our viewers. It's funny when you have I don't know, a group think. It's a sociology thing where people act differently because there's other people. And
Yeah.
now if it was like olives, a little cracker, cheese, whatever. But as soon as you hear something sizzling, that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
everybody's coming from all four directions
Oh, yeah. They
on
smell that aroma.
yeah. And they hear it sizzling. I heard the sizzling, but I didn't smell no aroma, but some people the aroma, some with the sizzling. And I know I heard that sizzle because I've cooked steak in a pan before. So I already
Right.
knew it was beef before I got there. Because I
Yeah.
heard it. I said, oh, and I
That was.
don't tell me I can tell the difference between chicken sizzling and beef sizzling.
Oh, yeah. It's a different. It's a different
Different sound.
sensation and
Yeah.
sound.
And it's funny how people were like vultures on this lady giving away these samples of sliders. Man, it was
I would have
like
been there.
they weren't moving. It's like, and then you start making good on looking at people that, hey, I was before you.
Yeah.
And I'm getting an error message, so I'm not sure if I click this button if it's gonna take us out. If it's not, we'll get back on. But
Okay.
I don't let me see. We're still here. We're still here.
I'm still seeing you.
Still seeing me. Is it a burger or isn't it? Okay.
Well,
Okay. Still
that's okay.
recording.
Hey, you know something? Um,
No,
it's
I don't.
also brisket day.
Okay.
I
Well,
almost had some brisket, but we ended up having Chinese food today.
hmm. Well, that's not
Hmm.
being true to the day.
I was outvoted.
It's one of each of you, so you were compelled to vote against your original thought, I guess. Huh?
Well, you know, when it's women involved, you always got They get like 3 votes. They get super democracy.
I'm not saying anything and let you hang yourself since it's being recorded. So
All right.
anyway, damn, you're
Well,
on tape now. Too
well, we
bad.
gave tribute to International Women's Day in March, so
Mm.
I'm
May,
immunized.
may not be deemed as genuine now. So maybe just protecting yourself after the fact. But anyway, let's talk about Vegas, baby.
Vegas.
That was my Austin Powers. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. I thought you were having a stroke.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Tropicana is going to be torn down.
They're tearing it. They're ripping it down. They're demolishing it. Because you're
Did you
Oakland.
know? Did you know why?
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Tell us why, Maurice Kane.
Because the Oakland Athletics, they can't even get 2,000 people in their stadium in Alameda County, California, are planning to go to Sin City and get $380 million in a bill that the Nevada legislature put up so they can build a $1.5 billion retractable roof stadium. And it's going to be where the Tropicana Hotel currently rests on the Las
Right.
Vegas Strip.
And to give people, to paint them a picture, is right across from the MGM Grand and also the Luxor and the what's that other casino? Excalibur. Yeah,
Excalibur.
right on that corner. And man, I was just in there last year when I went to Vegas. Yeah, this last year I
In the
was there.
Tropicana.
Yeah, I always step in and you
I
know
love the Tropicana.
getting
It's a
kickbacks or something. I love the kids. Like I love the Tropicana.
well, it's not doing
Okay.
hey, it's not doing them any good. They're tearing it down, aren't they? Um, but it's a crime against casinos to tear that place down. Wasn't it built in 1959?
Oh yeah, like you just going around knowing that, huh? Yeah, if you
I
say
don't.
so.
I'm asking you.
1959. I don't know when it was built. I know it was a long time ago.
You got a computer, don't you?
It's one of the OG casinos, the one of the last that
It basically had a kind of
let me see.
uh, a piratical nautical theme.
Yeah, let me see.
Just confirmed for our podcast listeners. We want to be accurate here.
April 4th, 1957.
Oh, see, it's even older.
Well, April 4th, 1957, 66 years ago. Owner Bally's Corporation.
Okay, so that means that it's going to be the death of the Tropicana.
So that's one of the oldest. Wow. 1957?
Yeah.
Then they opened a Tropicana Atlantic City in 1981. Doubletree by Hilton Hotel Tropicana. Okay. So Hilton is the hotel part.
Yeah, so that's one fewer casino hotel complex to visit
Well,
and lose money.
they're gonna have the what is it? The one what they call it, the one-armed bandit. I'm sure in the stadium. I'm sure they're gonna have it throughout
Oh,
the stadium.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're gonna take people's money all kind of ways.
And
And
that's
uh,
true. And baseball, at least the major league version of it, operates from April through September. Of course, it goes longer if you make it to the playoffs and the World Series. Then that gets you into October. But for at least let's say November through March, because March is when you have training camps and then the Cactus League in Arizona, and the
Mhm.
equivalent in Florida, where you're not going to have any baseball. So there's going to be other uses during that period of time. So probably concerts and other entertainment, and even during the Major League Baseball season, when the Athletics are not in town, it would probably be open for other recreational purposes. But be that as it may, it seems to me still a bittersweet moment for fans of the Tropicana Hotel in Las Vegas.
It's funny. I was just since that piqued my interest about 1957. It's not the oldest. Can you guess? Only one guess what
The
the
Sands?
oldest hotel. That's like been gone, isn't it?
Well, wasn't it earlier though?
Okay, I'm talking today. What is the oldest?
The oldest
I think it's
existing.
well, no, it says what's the oldest casino in Las Vegas? That's like sounds present tense, right?
Right.
What's the so it's the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino. The land was purchased in 1905,
Oh,
previously called the Hotel Nevada when it was purchased, but it was the first casino in Las Vegas in 1907. And the Las Vegas's first telephone is installed at Golden Gate.
but the Golden Gate's not around any longer, is it?
Let me see. Kind of confirm that. It's funny, because I don't go too much on the northern side of the strip, beyond Circus Circus.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't bet my life on it. I'm trying to search to see if it still exists. It's
We've
in the-
walked up and down the streets of Las Vegas in terms of the Strip and Fremont experience. I don't recall ever seeing the Golden Gate. I
Look at this.
mean,
Golden Gate Hotel Las Vegas was bought out by the former partners in 1990. So it existed until then. In 1995, the Fremont Street experience shut down vehicle traffic. I'm trying to get confirmed. Is this thing still around? In 2012, it existed. Okay, we're coming up now.
okay.
2012, it was still here. 35 square foot luxury tower. Give me a recent date. And let me see. Next. Okay, we're gonna have an episode. You know what? Let's have an episode, a podcast that's dealing with the gambling casinos and include that. How's that?
Yeah, we will. Let's do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
hopefully, if it does exist and it still has restaurants, that they don't try to bill the chicken, pork, portobello, and other
Mhm.
plant-based substances as burgers.
Yeah.
We
Well,
kind of
Vegas is
got
known
the
as
tea there.
like a steak place. They did a lot of places for steak, which we did when we were there.
Well, you can't, yeah,
Um,
can't go wrong with steak.
yeah,
But
and yeah, so let's do a series just on casinos. As far as when they uh, were developed and just we could talk about it. It could be one of our main topics. So I don't want to, so
okay,
that it's interesting. So. Well, now the first telephone in Las Vegas was the Golden Gate Hotel
I
and
did not know
Casino.
that.
Didn't know it. Now we
Didn't
know.
know it. Now we
Now
know.
we just got to confirm that this place still in existence.
Right. Well, we encourage our listeners who may be former Golden Gate uh, personnel, gamblers,
Mhm.
hotel guests, or people who engaged in various criminal activities to call us, to write, to email, and let us know. And you might even be a guest on Raising the Game, and you might be eligible for a jackpot, which would basically consist of uh, a selfie of yours truly um, signed in the original Sanskrit.
Okay, if I can interrupt your foolishness, what is the
Damn fool
biggest
yourself.
damn fool? What is the biggest casino in Vegas?
The Bellagio.
No, the Flowerfield combo of the Wynn and Encore Resorts, winning title of the biggest casino. I didn't know that in Sin City. I didn't know that, man.
Man. And you put all that money into all those casinos, you don't have any knowledge. What's the smallest one?
I don't know. I don't wanted to mention any name and by joking on that.
What's the casino that is doing least well? Well, maybe that's
Uh-oh.
the Tropicana. Maybe that's why they turned it
Everybody's
down.
probably probably why it's leaving.
That's probably
Yeah.
that's probably why they turned it down.
It's not like they're gonna do that to the Caesars or MGM.
Right.
So
Not tearing that down.
not tearing that down. So that's probably the question. That's probably the
Yeah.
answer. The
Yeah.
tropic. What is the Tropicana?
See, you Tropicana fans, you failed your casino.
It says iconic Tropicana Hotel. This is as of 2021 that it was going to be sold. Man,
Oh, yes. It's been in trouble for a while then.
so yeah, in 2021 it's going to be sold.
Yeah.
So you know what? Too bad we can't do a contest. Don't even joke about it because we may be legally responsible. So I'm going to stop you now. So, but
We don't have any stock in Bally's or anything.
no, but still.
I don't.
But anyway,
Well, let's move on.
yeah. So anyway, well, let's terminate this. It's time to go.
Hey, no, there's more. Wait, there's
No.
more. We have time for a couple more stories, right?
Yes, we do expeditiously.
Okay, I want to say happy 79th birthday to
Uh,
Gladys Knight. She was born on May 28th, 1944 in Atlanta, Georgia.
how old is she again?
She's 79.
Wow, happy birthday.
Do you want to hear some facts about Gladys Knight?
Yeah, sure. Tell us more, Maurice. Tell us more.
When Gladys Knight was a child, she won on the Ted Max Amateur Hour
I
television
knew that.
program.
I knew that.
You knew that? When
Yeah, I
she was a
did.
pre-adolescent in the 1950s, which was before my time, she and her brother Bubba and cousins William Guest and Edward Patton created a rhythm and blues singing group, which evolved into, guess what?
What?
Gladys Knight and the Pips. And
I knew that.
early hits on small recording labels included Every Beat of My Heart and Letter Full of Tears. Then in
Wow.
1965, Motown signed the group and they recorded several hits. I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Friendship Train, and
Okay.
Nitty Gritty.
Nitty
But do you
gritty.
think they ended there? No. In 1975, they moved to Buddha Records. And that's where they had their greatest success. They, in fact, kind of converted their grittier R&B uh, musicality into a more sophisticated sound. And that's where they came up with, and you probably know some of these hits, their signature song, Midnight Train to Georgia. Very significant because that's where she's from originally, Gladys Knight. I've got to use my imagination.
Okay.
I feel a song, and the best thing that ever happened.
I love that song. Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful song?
Well, I sold her brother Bubba a beer at the great fabulous Inglewood Forum many years ago
In Inglewood, California.
in Inglewood, California, now in the United States.
In the United States. That's right. North America.
Yeah, he was nice. He just said, "Oh, a beer, please." I said, "Okay, what size?" Okay, and sold it. It was like, "Hey, hello, how are you doing, sir?" Okay,
So pretty deep conversation.
yeah. I said, "Did you hear? What do you mean? Through the
Well,
grapevine."
you're pretty clever.
Yeah. By the
Do you
way,
know that?
go ahead.
Do you know that she entered acting?
No, I did not know that.
She was the lead in Pipe Dreams.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and of course, and then after the small recording companies, Motown, and Buddha, they moved on to Columbia Records. And who was their producer? Leon Silver.
Oh wow, yeah, the Silvers.
Yeah, and he re-energized them even more with Landlord, You're Number One in My Book, and their dance smash, Save the Overtime. But
Wow. I
was
didn't know
that the
Leon
end?
Silvers. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they went on to MCA.
I remember
And
MCA.
yeah, and they had a hit in 1987 called Love Overboard,
Oh,
which
I
was their
remember that. I remember
yeah,
that.
that was their final major crossover hit. Of course, as the cliche goes, and as history informs us, all good things come to an end.
I know the two
And
cousins died, passed away. Yeah.
but before that, they actually disbanded in
Right.
1989. The Pips retired after recording an album without Gladys. In fact, I bought that in 8-track tape form, if you
Mhm.
recall, because you listened to it.
I'm too young for that. Of
You were around. But did Gladys quit?
No,
No, she did
course
not.
not.
As a solo artist on MCA, she scored a hit with the song Men, and then she appeared in the national touring company of Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Oh, I remember
Um,
that.
yeah. In 1996, Gladys Knight and the Pips were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio.
I watched part of that later. I mean, it was recorded, you know.
Yeah. And 3 years after that, she recorded her first gospel album. That was 1999, and it was called Many Different Roads. And
Mhm.
then she did an album called At Last in 2001, which resulted in her winning a Grammy for Best Traditional R&B Album.
Hmm.
2005, so we're well within the 21st century, she recorded One Voice, a gospel record that involved collaboration with the Saints Unified Choir. 2006, like so many other artists like Linda Ronstadt and Barry Manilow, she did an album of standards, standard classic
Hmm.
American songs called
Hmm.
Before Me. And then 2013, only
Hmm.
10 years ago, she did another Journey.
Hmm.
As her
Interesting.
phenomenal recording career continued. 2014, she released her latest original album, Where My Heart Belongs, still as a solo performer. 2019, she had the national stage when she did the national anthem at Super Bowl 53, and she still hasn't decided to go to that nursing home or assisted living facility because she's going to embark on a tour June 16th this year at the Madam Walker Legacy Center in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Well, well, very interesting. By the way, before we go, and we're about to go, just let you know.
But one more thing.
No, I
One more
no.
thing. One more thing.
Please, I'm gonna be hanging up in a moment. See this finger? It's going to the button.
Got one more thing. This I'm using Sandra's time. I got her time by proxy here.
When you see everything fade to black, you know what happened, audience, okay?
All right. Well,
Because I have to go.
one of our traditional features is word of the day, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, and I have a word. It's mephitic,
What?
and Mephitic, and it's spelled Mephitic.
That biblical?
Actually, it does come from the Latin word mephitis, which means noxious vapor or exhalation. And mephitis is also the name of the Roman pagan female deity or goddess of foul smelling gases from volcanoes and swampy areas.
Mm,
And mephitis is the Latin name for the North American striped skunk.
wow, interesting.
Yeah. And mephitic itself is an adjective, which means, as you probably inferred from my previous dissertation, it means of noxious stench from atmospheric pollution.
So
And synonyms, hmm?
you actually it would be a put down if you refer to someone as you're mephitic, or no, that was
Yes.
like a noun, but it had to be used as an adjective. Yeah,
Well,
you're
your
mephitic.
aroma is
Your
mephitic.
your aroma's mephitic. Yeah, and so you're safe until they look it up. Till the time it
Yeah.
takes them to look it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, you better run.
They'll just double down and just stay seated. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be back. I'm going to my car and look it up in the dictionary, and I'll be back.
And see, and if you and by that time you could take the last train, in fact, the midnight train to Georgia to escape.
Yeah, because LA proved too much.
For the man. And if you don't make
So
it in time, then they'll be having like a Memorial Day for you.
yeah. So anyway, I want to close this out by saying the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino is alive and well.
You've confirmed it?
I confirmed it. It's $26 to $30, more or less. It's a one-star hotel.
Okay.
So
So, so that might be a future base of operations for Race the Cane.
one star, huh? Okay. But they did renovations, so the rooms are renovated.
I bet they serve good burgers.
It's on Fremont. It borders right off of Fremont Street with those other hotels. In fact, we were stayed in the North Strip last year for the first time since you and I were kids with our mother.
Okay.
Because we never were on the main part of the strip with our mother. We always stayed in the northern side.
Yeah.
Which is the obviously 1 and 2 star type hotels. But we had a good time. We didn't know we were missing anything, not staying in a fancy 5 star.
You know, and aren't this the 5 stars? I mean, that's probably where you have the major performing acts, right? That doesn't mean
Yes.
that the rooms are vermin infested or
But
anything.
let me give you perspective. The Luxor is a third rating. It's a 3 star
Three
hotel.
star.
And it's an exceptional hotel.
Yeah.
I think what makes it 4 and 5 stars is if you have the top of the line chef that, like Bobby Fay or something,
Okay.
or Gordon Ramsay level. And then you have, let's say, the Rolling Stones are coming to town to play. They're the top tier. I think it's just not, oh, the room is clean, the bed is clean. I think it's beyond that because to me, I've been in 3, 4, and 5 stars, and some of the 5 stars, what made a difference is the jacuzzi special, a jacuzzi bathtub, which all these bells and whistles, and it had a little couch and a little extra area for seating, which made the difference. And
Okay.
it was basically more utilitarian. I mean, because obviously having all these jet streams in a bathtub is utilitarian.
Yeah.
And sitting at a nook area that's the size of a regular bedroom, maybe that's what makes it 4 or 5 stars. It doesn't mean the carpet's any cleaner. I think those extra amenities where, in fact, with the Bellagio, because for my birthday, I treated Sandra and myself to Caesar's Palace and Bellagio back to back. And do you know? No, maybe you do.
Yeah.
They have a menu of services where you could pay for massages where they will come to your room with the dang equipment to give you a massage.
Oh, you could have called me.
So you don't even need to go to where the salon, the suit, whatever. They will come to you if you have to. So that's probably those kind of things which makes it 4 and 5 stars, I imagine.
I want to throw this out there for people. For the right price, I'll come with my bucket of hot water and Dove soap and relatively clean towels, and I will do the same service. And I will
Relatively clean.
charge less. I I will charge less.
Well, true, these services are hundreds of dollars now. So I mean, so when people that say, "Yeah, I would like that," I like that, and then and as a police carry you away for non-payment of okay, uh,
I do it for I do it for $20.
yeah, okay. So your balance due is 24.55. And he probably gives them $24, right?
Yeah,
55. No,
$20.
sir. No, 24.55, literally. No
Yeah, yeah,
decimal.
no decimal.
The decimal is after all the numbers.
Yeah,
24.55
that's right. Because there's
dot
a comma
zero
after
zero.
the two. At least that's on the cheap end.
Yeah, so you know what? But to me, to each his own because it's all relative. If you have Oprah Winfrey kind of money, then you say, well, 2, 3 thousand or something. What is that?
That's
So
nothing.
nothing. But to
That's
us, man,
that's the Happy Meal of Oprah.
yeah, that's a
She
yeah,
might be she might be the future senator of California.
yeah. I'm not going to engage in conversation with that since we're winding down. But anyway, if that was your way of
It seems
introducing a
like
new
your
subject.
attitude is becoming mephitic.
Well, stick and stones may break my bones, but words kill and destroy.
Okay. If he's suing me for libel. But it's not libel if it's true. It's not slander if it's true.
As you file bankruptcy. Try to
We'll
defend
have
that.
to, and we had to liquidate Raising the Cane.
Liquidate all the assets to pay for the suit.
We had to put all our money back into Ukraine.
So it's in. We'll meet in 6 days at the
Golden Gate.
Golden Gate.
Tell,
I
tell,
can see someone going to San Francisco on that, don't you think?
yeah, it's misleading. Because because when you say Golden Gate, I was thinking maybe you can't read Google Maps because that sounds like the Bay Area.
I can see someone says, "Okay, we'll meet there in 6 days at Golden Gate," and someone called,
Golden
"Ring,
Gate.
ring, ring! Where are you guys?
I'm
Where
standing
are
in
you
front of the
guys?"
bridge.
It's in the bridge. Well, shoot, we're in the casino. There's no casino on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
fool.
Golden Gate where we are. It is.
Yeah, where are you? I'm in California. I'm in Nevada. Fool, down fool, village idiot.
Yeah, the Golden Gate Hotel. I mean, you would like literally you would take your chances to go to San Francisco. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
Golden
that's
Gate.
why. Maybe that's why it's so obscure.
It's like 1 star. Yeah, no one knows of them. No one knows.
Yeah, people keep thinking this is San Francisco.
So they go to booking.com and it's like Expedia and they say, well, shit, we just booked it for San Francisco.
It's not like you could just drive over there quickly.
Yeah. I don't
You
know. That's a
know?
good drive from Vegas to San Francisco or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the distance?
Sure. I don't know. I imagine it's got to be at least 300-400 miles minimum. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least, and yeah, I would think so. But anyway, let's wind it down. It's been exciting, wonderful, insightful for us.
Yeah.
So
It has
anyway,
been.
has
Hey,
been. Thank
remember to
you.
wish Camille a happy birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, no names. Bye. So anyway, anyway, absolutely, absolutely,
All right.
absolutely. No last name. Okay.
No, I'm not saying last names.
And the number is 55555.
1-8. What's that Tommy Two Tone song?
1-867-532-9 something. It's 678 something. I don't know. 29. I remember
Yeah.
seeing them there for my, what do you call it at Disneyland?
Grad night.
Grad night, yeah. What is grad night? You missed it. Grad
I
night.
was
What
there.
is you were there?
Not
In
with
a
you. I had
different
my own
year.
grad night.
Yeah, we're 3 years apart. So yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was fun though. It was fun. We also saw at the remember where the Astro ride is for the kids. We saw Sky. Remember Sky, the black group, and it was 2, 3. They had the futuristic kind of
Oh, and I was Sky with a double Y,
yeah, and they were good.
SKYY.
They had 2 or 3 hits, and they were playing over there. So that was it was nice to see them because
Yeah, I
I
forgot
bought
about
their
them.
records. I bought their records. So
You still have them
anyway,
too. Have you been
no,
listening
it's
to them
all
lately?
no. So
30,
anyway, it's been a
40 years
pleasure.
later.
It's been a pleasure. I'm talking over 'em. It's been a pleasure
That's what you think.
with this episode. And so you're gonna see me push the button and we're gonna fade into black. Well,
I
see
got
you
things to
later,
do.
Maurice. It's been a pleasure.
I'm gonna watch Netflix now.
Well, they have that thing going on now where you have to prove your residency and prove that that's your account at your home. I just got it the other day, and I was
I'll,
yeah, they're doing now where you can't share your password with people that don't live with you. So they started it. So you have to
I pay
confirm
my
your
own
account.
bills. I'm not sharing anything.
So you have to confirm your account. They're asking everyone when you log in at certain stages to confirm where you're at. And
Oh, I
so
thought. See, they asked me that. I thought it was like Russian hackers or somebody from North Korea or China.
so anyway. But
All right.
anyway, until next time,
Bye bye.
thank you. Raising the cane. Until
Raise the
next time, friends. Adios.
Adios.
Adios. See you later.
See
See you
ya.
later.
Unless
Bye.
you want to be